You wake up and you don't know what you're doing anymore. You go through the motions, work, responsibilities, daily routines, but underneath it all, there's this constant feeling that you're drifting, that everyone else seems to have a map and you're just wandering. You watch other people move forward with purpose and clarity while you're standing still, paralyzed by uncertainty. They seem to know where they're going, what they want, who they are. And you don't even know what questions to ask anymore. If that's you right now, if you clicked on this video because you feel completely lost and don't know what to do about it, I need you to know something. I see you. I've been exactly where you are, and what I'm about to share with you might be the most important thing you hear all year. Because feeling lost isn't what you think it is, and once you understand what's actually happening, everything changes. This isn't going to be another motivational speech telling you to find your passion or follow your dreams. This is the truth about what it means to be lost, why it's happening to you right now, and what to do when you have no idea what to do. Let me start by validating something you probably think you're not allowed to feel. It's okay to be lost. It's okay to not have it figured out. It's okay to look at your life and have no idea what comes next. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're not failing at life. You're in a transition. And transitions feel like being lost because that's exactly what they are, the space between who you were and who you're becoming. But nobody tells you that, so you think something's wrong with you. Everyone around you seems certain. They have plans, goals, clear next steps, and you're just trying to figure out why you can't seem to care about anything anymore. Let me take you deeper into what's actually happening. You feel lost because the map you were following stopped working. For most of your life, the path was clear. Go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a job, climb the ladder, check the boxes, follow the script. And you did. You followed the map society gave you. You did what you were supposed to do. But somewhere along the way, something shifted, maybe gradually, maybe suddenly. You looked around and realized this path isn't taking you where you want to go. In fact, you don't even know where you want to go anymore. The destination you were working toward either doesn't appeal to you anymore, or you reached it and discovered it wasn't what you thought it would be. Now you're standing at a crossroads with no map, no compass, and no idea which direction to move. That feeling, that disorienting, suffocating uncertainty, that's what being lost actually is. Dr. William Bridges, who spent his career studying life transitions, identified something crucial. People don't feel lost during stability. They feel lost during what he calls the neutral zone, the psychological space between endings and new beginnings. You've ended one chapter, but the next chapter hasn't started yet. And that in-between space is terrifying because humans need direction. They need purpose. They need to feel like they're moving towards something. When we don't have that, we feel lost, and feeling lost triggers something deeper, the fear that you'll stay lost forever. This is the valley, the dark place where most people who feel lost get stuck. Because when you feel lost, you do one of two things. Either you panic and grab onto anything that feels like direction, even if it's the wrong direction, just to escape the discomfort of uncertainty. Or you freeze completely. You stop making decisions, you stop taking action. You convince yourself that until you figure out the right path, you shouldn't move at all. Both responses make it worse. When you panic and choose any direction just to feel like you're moving, you often end up even more lost. You take a job that doesn't fit. You start a relationship to feel grounded. You make changes that create more problems than they solve. When you freeze and wait for clarity before moving, you stay stuck indefinitely. Because clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from moving. Dr. Herminia Ibarra's research on career transitions revealed something profound. People don't find their path by thinking their way to it. They find it by testing their way to it. You don't figure out what you want by sitting still and contemplating. You figure it out by trying things, noticing what resonates, and adjusting course. But you can't do that when you're paralyzed by the belief that you need perfect clarity before taking any step. So you stay in the valley, feeling lost, feeling stuck, watching time pass while everyone else seems to be moving forward.
And the longer you stay there, the more you start believing something devastating. That maybe you're just someone who will always be lost. That maybe you don't have a purpose. That maybe some people figure it out and some people don't, and you're in the second category. That belief is a lie, but it feels true when you're in the valley. Here's the turning point, the moment that changes everything. Being lost isn't a problem to solve, it's a process to trust. You're not lost because something's wrong with you. You're lost because you're in transition. And transition requires uncertainty. You can't become someone new while clinging to certainty about who you are. You can't discover a new path while demanding a map. You can't find your direction while refusing to explore. Being lost is uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Think about every major growth period in your life. Every time you became someone more authentic, more aligned, more yourself. It didn't happen during stability. It happened during chaos, during the times when everything you thought you knew about yourself was being questioned. You feel lost because you're shedding an old identity and haven't fully stepped into a new one yet. That's not a crisis, that's transformation.
The people who find their way aren't the ones who never feel lost. They're the ones who learn how to navigate being lost without panicking or freezing. They're the ones who understand that feeling lost is temporary, not permanent, that it's a process, not a destination. So here's how you actually navigate being lost. Step 1, stop trying to figure it all out at once. You don't need to know your life purpose right now. You don't need to have a 10-year plan. You don't need to know exactly who you're becoming. You just need to know the next right step. Not the next 10 steps, just one. What's one thing you can do today that feels even slightly aligned? Not perfect, not life-changing, just slightly more true than what you've been doing. Maybe it's having a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's researching something you're curious about. Maybe it's saying no to something that doesn't fit anymore. One step. That's all you need right now. Step 2. Give yourself permission to experiment. You're not committing to anything permanently right now. You're just testing, exploring, trying things to see what resonates. Take the pressure off. This isn't about finding the answer. It's about gathering data. Try the thing you're curious about. Have coffee with someone in a field that interests you. Take the class. Start the side project. Not because you know it's your calling, but because you're curious. Dr. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset shows that people who view exploration as learning rather than testing for talent are more likely to discover fulfilling paths. You're not trying to find the one right thing. You're trying to learn what feels right to you right now. Step 3. Pay attention to energy, not just logic. When you're lost, you try to think your way to answers. You make pro and con lists. You analyze. You try to figure out the smart choice. But direction doesn't come from logic alone. It comes from noticing what gives you energy and what drains it. What activities make time disappear? What conversations leave you feeling energized rather than depleted? What problems do you naturally want to solve? Those aren't random, they're signals. Your internal compass trying to point you somewhere. Trust those signals even when they don't make logical sense yet. Step 4. Accept that the path reveals itself one step at a time. You want to see the whole staircase before taking the first step, but life doesn't work that way. You take one step and the next step becomes visible. You take that step and another appears. The path emerges as you walk it, not before. That requires faith, not religious faith, but faith that forward movement creates clarity even when you can't see where you're going yet. Every person who built a meaningful life navigated periods of uncertainty. They just kept moving despite not having all the answers. Step 5. Surround yourself with people who are also exploring. When you're lost, you instinctively hide it. You pretend you have it together because everyone else seems to. But they don't. Most people are navigating uncertainty. They're just not talking about it. Find people who can be honest about not having it figured out, who are also exploring, who can hold space for uncertainty without trying to fix it. Because you don't need people to give you answers, you need people to validate that not having answers is okay. Step 6. Redefine what found means. You think being found means having certainty, a clear path, a definitive answer about who you are and what you're doing. But that's not how it works. You're never fully found. You're always evolving. Being found isn't about having all the answers. It's about being at peace with the questions. It's about moving forward despite uncertainty instead of being paralyzed by it. The people who seem like they have it all figured out, they don't. They've just made peace with not having it figured out. They're comfortable with uncertainty. They trust their ability to navigate whatever comes. They've stopped demanding a map and learned to trust their internal compass. That's what you're building toward. Not certainty, confidence in your ability to handle uncertainty. Here's what changes when you stop fighting being lost and start trusting the process. You stop feeling like you're falling behind because you realize everyone's on their own timeline. There is no behind. There's just your path. You stop feeling pressure to have it all figured out because you understand that nobody does. They're just more comfortable with uncertainty than you've allowed yourself to be. You stop feeling paralyzed because you give yourself permission to take imperfect action, to try things without needing to know they're right. And slowly, almost without noticing, you stop feeling lost. Not because you found the answer, but because you learned how to navigate without one. The path becomes clear not because someone gave you a map, but because you started walking, and the walking itself created the path. This is what being found actually looks like. Not the absence of uncertainty, the ability to move forward despite it. Not having all the answers, having confidence that you'll figure it out as you go. Not knowing your purpose, being okay with discovering it through living rather than thinking. You came to this video feeling lost. Maybe you still feel lost, but now you understand that being lost isn't a problem to fix. It's a transition to trust, a process to honor, a necessary part of becoming who you're meant to be. The feeling will pass, not because you figured everything out, but because you stop demanding that you have to. You don't need to know where that step will lead. You just need to take it. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to stop waiting for certainty before moving and start trusting that the path reveals itself through movement, not contemplation. You're not lost. You're in transition, and transition is where all real growth happens. See you in the next video.